Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a theory that is, well, it's pretty out there. And his claim is this: what if the entire history of ancient Rome wasn't something that actually happened, but was programmed?
I mean, think about it. The Roman Empire lasted for an incredibly long time. The famous historian Edward Gibbon even said we shouldn't be asking why it fell, but how in the world it lasted so long in the first place.
Okay, but what if that whole epic story is just an invention, not a real record of the past, but a model of it, a really convincing fake? So this is the core idea behind what Arndt calls history hacking. It's this whole approach of looking at history not as a messy, random series of events, but as a system that has a kind of hidden source code. And if there's a code, well, you can try to crack it. So let's dive in and see what Arndt claims he found. All right, so the first major red flag that Arndt points to, it's the Emperor Augustus himself. The argument here is that Augustus's entire reign might just exist inside a duplicated period of time, a phantom era that was basically copy-pasted into the timeline. Okay, so check this out. Look at the crazy parallels between the death of Julius Caesar and the Emperor Caligula. First off, they had the exact same full name. Both were stabbed to death by a bunch of daggers. Both plots were organized by a guy named Cassius. And after both assassinations, there was an attempt to bring back the Republic. That's a lot of coincidences, right? And the time between these two almost identical events? Exactly 84 years. Arndt says no way is that a coincidence. So why 84 years? Well, get this. 84 years is the exact length of a Roman Easter cycle. You know, an old Christian method for calculating the date of Easter way into the future. This suggests that this whole chunk of time, including the glorious reign of Augustus, might have been deliberately slotted into the historical record, like a historical copy and paste job. But this idea of a fabricated history goes way deeper than just one phantom period. Once you start looking for numerical patterns in the timeline of Rome's first dynasty, things get, well, they get really weird. So if you just lay out the official dates for the Julio-Claudian emperors, things start to look a little too perfect, a little engineered. For example, Nero was born in the exact same year that Tiberius died. And Caligula? He was born 56 years after Julius Caesar's death, which just happens to be the exact age Caesar was when he was assassinated. I mean, come on, are we really supposed to believe these are all just random coincidences? And it's not just a one-off. There's this perfect 56-year rhythm that connects the birth of Caesar to his death, then to the birth of Caligula, and then 56 years later to the death of Nero, which ends the whole dynasty. The key takeaway here is that real history is supposed to be messy and chaotic. This looks suspiciously clean. It looks designed. Arndt's analysis goes even further, and this is where it gets really interesting. He highlights numbers that are super important in biblical numerology. You know, the idea that numbers in scripture have symbolic meaning. Take the number 27. It just keeps popping up. It's the combined reign of Tiberius and Caligula. It's also the combined reign of Claudius and Nero. And it's also the length of the entire Flavian dynasty that came next. It's like the timeline isn't built on random events, but on these very specific symbolic numbers. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. We're going to move to the next phase of the empire, and you'll see how this builds into an even bigger pattern. Arndt argues that Roman history isn't just sprinkled with weird numerical codes. He says it actually follows a repeating blueprint. He claims that after that first dynasty, Roman history basically hits repeat on this four-step cycle. Think of it like a template for building an empire. Step 1, a major crisis. Step 2, a 27-year period of consolidation. Step 3, a short-term emperor to transition to a new dynasty. And then Step 4, a great super Kaiser who brings in a golden age. And here you can see that super Kaiser step in action. Trajan, Constantine the Great, Justinian the Great, these are three of the most famous, most legendary emperors in all of Roman history. And they don't just appear at random times. According to Arndt's model, each one shows up at the exact same point in this repeating 200-year cycle. It's almost like they're scheduled to appear. All right, now let's look at another number. This one shows up after the Western Roman Empire supposedly fell, in the kingdoms that came next. So Arndt points out something absolutely stunning. The official king lists for the Westgoths, the Merovingians, and the Langobards, they all stop at exactly 36 rulers.
I mean, what are the odds? What are the chances that three completely different kingdoms would just happen to have the exact same number of kings? For Arndt, this isn't chance. This is a clear sign of history being written to a specific plan.
And all of this leads us to Arndt's ultimate conclusion. This isn't just about Rome anymore. It's a fundamental challenge to how we think about the entire discipline of history itself.
Even the total lifespan of the empires seems to be based on a formula. The entire duration of the Western Roman Empire was 1,229 years. The Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire lasted 1,129 years. Now look closer. Both of those numbers break down into a nice, clean, round number, 700 and 600, plus a constant, 529. Again, it just seems too neat to be real.
And this is the crucial point for Arndt. What we call history isn't the messy, chaotic, real thing that happened in the past. It's a model, a simplified and, in his view, completely fabricated model that was designed to be neat, symbolic, and easy to understand.
So, what does this all mean? If the foundational stories of our entire Western civilization really do follow some kind of pre-written script, full of repeating cycles and numerical patterns, well, it forces you to ask a really big question. How much of what we think we know about the past is actual fact, and how much of it is just a really, really well-told story?